What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Jacob Wall Fishing. Starting the video out here in the fishing room, but the video is actually going to be out on the water catching some fish on a new bait from Nishine Lure Works called the Simcoe 75. These here, I don't know if you guys can see with the glare. So, oh, that's not real good, but here, let me show you one out of the package. That's the Simcoe 75. That's in a nice red color. The Simcoe 75 comes in at just under 3 inches long. It comes in two different models. It comes in a HW, which is the heavyweight model, and it comes in the standard just 75 model. The standard 75 model weighs just under 5/8 of an ounce, and then the heavyweight model comes in at 0.85 of an ounce, so between 3/4 and 1 ounce. Same body size, just different weights, so it allows you to fish different depths. I've been throwing the standard 75, not the heavyweight, because I'm fishing over top of really shallow grass, so I'm trying to keep my bait up in the water column, fishing anywhere from 2 to 8 feet of water over the tops of grass and just ripping it through the grass. It is a phenomenal bait. It is really, really thin, as you guys can see, so it cuts through the grass really well, and it just gets bites that I was not getting on other lipless baits. I've had, I think, 3 other guys in the back of my boat, and they've been throwing different lipless crankbaits and have not really been able to put much together. I went out with my buddy Miles Murray a couple days ago, and Miles caught some fish on a lipless behind me, but I definitely got way more bites on the Simcoe 75. And then I went out with a few other friends of mine a week prior to that, and I absolutely, I mean, with lack of better words, put it on them with the Simcoe 75. This bait is phenomenal. It gets bit really, really well, and you guys are going to see some fish catching action. The color I've been catching them on is this guy right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's called BPB Chartreuse Shad. It's kind of got like a dull chartreuse side with like a little orange belly and then like a bluish hue on the top. And that color has been working really, really good. Another key feature, I think, to the Simcoe 75 is that it is silent. The weight is kind of moving around in there a little bit on this one, but it is a silent bait. The noise it's going to make is the hooks hitting it when it's moving through the water. It is also, it also comes with extremely good hooks. These are Ichikawa treble hooks, and they're super, super slick. They've got a coating on there. Really sharp. They're kind of a nice cross between like an extra wide gap and a round bend. So the point still kind of tips out like a round bend would, but it's got a little bit more of gap, similar to an EWG. So I really like these Ichikawa trebles. Split rings are great on these baits. Hiroshi always uses a really quality snap. Just a really, really great bait. So the Simcoe 75 by Nishine Lure Works. That is what gets it done in the video. Hope you guys learned something about ripping a trap or ripping a lipless, whatever you want to call it, fishing through grass. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. Hopefully you enjoy. I think the first couple clips, or I know the first couple clips, are going to be throwing a spinning rod with the Nishine Smelt Head. So another Nishine Lure Works product, just the little swim bait. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. And like I always say, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. And if you do like this video, hit the like button for me. Appreciate it, guys. Let's get right into the action.
Got a big spotted bass on the single swim bait. Stay on there, fish. It's a nice spotted bass. It's not hooked real good. I'm gonna try to boat flip him. Yeah, we got him. We got him. Come here, Spot. Oh yeah, that's a chunk. Chunky little spotted bass. First solid, keeper of the day. Probably a 2 1/4 pound spot on the good old Nishine Smelt Head, 2/7 ounce. Nice, pretty spotted bass. Got another nice spotted bass, guys. Or maybe that's a lot. No, it's another spot. Another spot. Ate it right under the boat. A little skinnier than the last one. Still a solid fish though. Cool. Did not hook him very good. No, I hooked him alright actually. It's another decent one. Definitely a little smaller than the last. Probably, I don't know, maybe close to 2 pounds. But definitely a decent little spotted bass. Not bad. Number 2. It's better than where we were a few minutes ago. I noticed I was watching the active target as I was reeling the bait in, and there were 3 or 4 of them really close to the boat, about 10 feet away. And so as it got close, I slowed it way down, almost to like a no retrieve at all. Because what happens is when the bait gets close to the boat, it starts to want to come to the surface just naturally because you're running out of room. And so if you slow it way down, it'll kind of prevent that from happening until it starts to hit directly under the boat, and then obviously it's going to come up. But I slowed it way down and just allowed that bait to almost just kind of float down there in that deeper water, and that one grabbed it. Let's make a little run, guys. We got those 2 spots, had a couple other bites, tried a few things, and it's just not really happening. I'll make one more throw over here with the Alabama rig. I got an area that I'd like to go try. Got a feeling it might be good, but I felt like a lot of the stuff we've stopped on today should have been good, so maybe we'll get lucky finally and we'll roll up to something and it will be good. Only got about an hour and a half left to fish, so probably gonna hit 1 or 2 more spots, maybe 3 more spots depending on how long we spend on them, and hopefully we run into them in the next hour and a half and catch a couple of nice fish. It'd be nice to catch like 5-6 pound fish, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen here. Nice to at least get a few fish in the boat, but I think we need to keep moving. They're just finicky. Finicky, finicky, finicky. I think our best bet is just keep covering water. There he is, guys. That's a big one. That's a big one. Stay on there. It's going to jump. Stay on there. I have not felt the head shape, but it feels giant. Oh, gosh. Stay hooked, fish. Oh, yeah. It's a good one. It has that bait choked, too, guys. It's not as big as I thought, but this bait is gone. Look at that lipless, guys. Look at that. It's a 3-pounder. Look at that Simcoe 75. You think she wanted it? Oh my gosh, that's the second bite in about 5 casts right here. But that's a 3 1/4 pounder. Oh man, we might have just found him. I got to get a picture of that bait down her throat. Oh my gosh, she choked that thing. That is so fun. That is so fun. Thank you, fish. Thank you, fish. Nice healthy bass. There she goes. Feisty. Man, did she suck that lipless in. All right, guys. I got 2 bites just then in the same spot. So that's what we've been looking for. Grass fishing can be so tough if you're not getting bit. It can be so exhausting and just like feel like you're just slinging around at nothing. But when you find them, you can really get into a big group of them. So I'm gonna retie because that fish had that bait just sucked down and her teeth were rubbing on the line. Even though this is 16-pound line, I mean, you could catch a giant bass doing this. So I don't want to have any kind of nicks in my line or any kind of any problems. So I'm going to retie, make sure my line's good. I actually have a nick up there. I'm going to retie again. Should have checked that all the way up there first. I'm sure that nick was there when I fought that fish, but you know, most of the time you fight them pretty carefully with treble hooks. But the thing that I don't trust is these fish are still super mean, and they're really fast even in this colder water. I mean, water's really not that cold. We've been having so much warm weather, so these fish are still really mean right now. And so if they take off sideways and you got a nick in your line, it could end really badly really quickly. So got to make sure your line's solid, everything's good, and we're back out there. Let's get another one. That was quick. There's another one, guys. Oh my gosh, very next cast we found them. This might be another big one. I gotta fight this one carefully too. Very next throw, guys. Oh yeah, it's another solid one. Not as big as that last, I don't think. Very next cast though. There she is. Nice. That's probably a 2-pounder. It's definitely a 15-inch fish, but it's not much more than that. Probably a 2-pounder. Get him back, get back in there. That was super fast. Oh man. Oh man, now I'm getting excited. That was the first little tick of grass that I hit. I got bit again. All right, nothing on that throw. Let's try again. Oh, might have just gotten bumped. Oh, that was a bite. There he is. That's a big one. That's a big one, guys. That's a big one. Stay on there, fish. Oh my gosh, these are big head shakes. Don't you come off. Oh no, it's not that big. Gosh dang, why did I think that one was so big? That's another 2-pounder, but gosh, I thought it was a giant one. See, it just goes to show you, you can't tell how big they are until you see them. They're just so mean. All right, buddy, come on in here. All right, we just found a little group of them. I will take that for sure. That's what I'm talking about. Same deal, same bait, about a 2-pounder again. That would be a limit, including our 2 spotted bass from that last spot. So I slowed it down just so I would maintain contact with the grass, and that fish bumped it a couple times and then finally loaded up on it. All right, there's grass. See, once you find them, it's like clockwork. You just gotta have that retrieve right. Come on now, fish. See, it's actually fairly deep where I'm casting, because the boat is sitting in about 12 feet of water, and they're kind of sitting off to the left side of this drain right here. What a drain is, it's something they they call like a ditch in Texas. It's really a Texas term, like a Sam Rayburn or Toledo Bend or your Texas lakes. That's kind of where drain got its name, but basically it's just a ditch, and that's kind of what this is here. It's got a deeper water out in the middle, shallower water up on the sides, and they'll be somewhere along that ditch. Or a lot of the times when it's really cold, they'll be right in the middle of the drain or the ditch. But right now the water is still pretty warm, so these fish are up on the edge up here. And I'm just slinging this lipless around. All of those bites came in that one little zone over there. There's another one, guys. That's another good one. Oh my gosh, I decided to throw a little bit further up here to the left, and they're up there too. I was curious where the school extended to, because they weren't over further out in the ditch. I threw over there a few times. Didn't hit any grass. Oh, that's a nice one. I didn't think it was that big. It wasn't really fighting. This is too fun. This is too fun. These aren't giant fish for by any means, but they're definitely good quality. That first one was the best one for sure so far. That's another little chunk though. They're getting the front hook too, which is a really good sign. All right, as much as I want to show you guys these fish, I want to keep catching them. So I'd say that's a 2 1/4, 2 1/2, a little bit better than those last two. Thank you, buddy. Get back out there. So yeah, I threw over here a little more to the left, ripped it off a little clump of grass, and that one ate it. So I'm just maintaining a slow to, you know, moderate retrieve depending on where the grass is in the water column. If it's shallow water, I'm reeling faster. If it's a medium depth, I'm reeling a little bit slower. If it's deeper, I'm reeling slow. I mean, it's really that simple. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to think like too hard about it. You know, there's definitely times of the year, and there's definitely, you know, certain days where they want it yo-yoed, or they want it snatched out of the grass real hard, or they want it, you know, just weird retrieves. But overall, day in and day out, I catch more fish with a rattle trap or a lipless or whatever you want to call them, just reeling it, and reeling it at various speeds over the top of the grass. It's such a simple technique, but it gets bit so well, especially in the colder water, or just in the colder months of the year. Because what happens is the grass dies back and it creates more room on top of it, so you can throw a treble hook bait like a lipless and come over it cleanly without getting hung up too much. I've gotten bit from anywhere from a kind of fast retrieve all the way to a moderate slow retrieve, so it doesn't seem like these fish really care. I think the key though, oh, that was a bite. I think the key though is bumping it off the grass for sure, because it seems like I'm getting my bites right after I pop it out of a clump of grass. It doesn't have to be a lot of grass. Like, I'm not feeling the bait really mar up. I'm just feeling it touch a piece of grass every once in a while. Just lightly touch a piece of grass. And those bites are definitely coming when it's right after it comes out of a, you know, little piece of grass or a small clump of grass. There's another one, guys. That one actually feels pretty good size. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It feels bigger than the last couple though. I'm trying to keep my rod tip down. You see me fighting the fish with my rod pointed at the water. That's just to keep the line down. You know, anytime I'm fighting a fish on a treble hooked bait, I try not to let them jump. I'm just gonna ski them in. It's not a big one, but it's a good one. Come on in here, buddy. But basically, I don't want these guys to jump because a lot of the times they're not hooked very well. This guy was hooked pretty good, but definitely the less time they are in the air, the less chance you have of losing them. So that's another 2-pounder. Bunch of keepers chilling over here. Nothing big yet, but it might just be one cast away from a big one. You never know. They're definitely liking this Simcoe 75. This is a new lipless that Nishine Lure Works is going to come out with here very, very soon. I believe it's available on some sites, but it should be available on Tackle Warehouse shortly, as well as the Nishine Lure Works website. In fact, it might already be available by the time this video comes up. But the color that I'm throwing is called BPB Chartreuse Shad. It's a really nice kind of combination, in my opinion, between like a chartreuse color and like just a pearl kind of color. And then it's got real kind of moderate, kind of, I don't know, in between like a black and blue color top. Just like a toned down blue top, like a real subtle blue top. And then it's got an orange belly on it. And yeah, this color works good even in clear water. And this bait is silent. And I think that's part of the reason why you can get away with throwing a brighter color even in the clear water. But definitely keep your eyes out for the Simcoe 75, because this thing is a fish catching machine. I've caught a lot of fish on it lately, and I've caught a bunch of really nice fish on it too, including one on my last trip that was 6 1/4. So the big ones definitely like this bait, and so do the other ones. They all like it. It's just a good bait. It's a good bait to add to the arsenal. You don't see very many silent lipless crankbaits out there, and this one comes with, well, all of Nishine's baits come with really, really good quality hooks, good quality split rings, good quality snap, and it just fishes really well through the grass, and it flat out gets bit. Oh, I just got smoked. Just got smoked on the lipless. There he is. There he is, guys. That's a big one, I think. Oh gosh, I couldn't tell. Oh gosh, guys, it's a big. It's a big. That's a good one. Don't come off, fish. That's a good one. 4 or 5 pounder. I saw it out of the corner of my eye when she jumped. That might be bigger than that, actually. That's a giant. Don't you come off, fish. That's definitely a 6. Don't you come off. Yes! Oh, yes, baby! Yes! Oh, yes! The freaking lipless just fell out of her face. Holy cow, that fish did not seem that big. 586. Almost a 6 pounder, guys, out of Guntersville here on the Nishine Simcoe 75. All right, guys, we're gonna release this big fish. I don't want to keep her in the live well any more than she needs to be. Kept her in there for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes tops. I just don't like live welling these big ones. I used to live well them to get a picture with a couple of them, but it just isn't worth it. I'd rather see these fish be healthy and go back. Thank you, girl. There she goes.